Hello, Mary the Psychic Shaman here, and I am going to bring you this awesome video, come on, focus on me, on how I make my psychic tea. Is this not gonna focus? Okay, let's see how this goes. Not used to, oh, there we go, okay. So we are doing a video on how I make my psychic tea. Now, because today is Thursday, it is Tarot Thursday, and I am going to utilize the Magician for doing this. And why, do you say? Well, because the Magician brings in all the elements, creates, brings in the magic, right? So that is what we're going to do, is use the energy from the Magician card to create this psychic tea. Now this tea, it changes for me. I have a base. I always use mugwort. That is my base. And I add yarrow all the time. I have been adding peppermint or mint a lot, but really, and dandelion root. It really depends on what you want. Now the one thing I will say is I don't have all this memorized. I do not know what exactly everything, what they do, or what metaphysical or medicinal properties they have. So I know what helps with opening your psychic abilities and your clairs. Eyebright and mugwort, yarrow. So those are a base, and dandelion root as well. But there is no harm, no foul at all in having to look in a book. So don't feel bad if you have to do that. Now, I will do a medical disclaimer here, cover my butt. I am not a medical doctor. I am not an herbalist. I have taken a bunch of different things that I've read about in books, seen online, taken in classes, and I make things my own. But please beware that certain botanicals affect people differently. For example, mugwort is one that if you have not had a mugwort tea before, then I would suggest trying a teaspoon of that steeped for 5 minutes and see how that reacts, how you react to it, because it can affect people differently, as I said, and so can any of these other ones. And some things promote bleeding, which you may not want that, blood flow. So make sure you check into things, ask your doctor, look to make sure you don't have anything like, if you're in warfarin, of course, you don't want anything that promotes more, blood flow type of thing, of course. You don't want to bleed out. And I definitely don't want to be responsible for that. So look into things. So the books that I like using, referencing, this is an oldie but goodie. This is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. This I haven't really gotten into too much, but it is beautiful. Plant Spirit Shamanism. It's really on how to connect in with your plant allies. And this big, humongo one is just Llewellyn's Complete Book of Correspondences, which has stuff for everything. Some things don't correlate with other things that you read online with this one, so especially planetary stuff, so just beware of that. So what we're going to do today, I have a base. I do 2 parts of mugwort, usually either 2 or 3. Today I'm going to do 2 parts of mugwort to 1 part of everything except sage, because holy cow, sage is really strong, so you want to pinch very little bit. The other thing, make sure that you buy from a reputable source. Either go and wild harvest yourself, but if you do, please make sure that you're not harvesting from roadsides that get sprayed with pesticides and stuff like that, or that get all the crap from the road sprayed on it. Don't do that, because you're drying them and using them. There's not too much of cleaning going on. So I purchase from Mountain Rose Herbs online, which is where my mugwort comes from. I have this Eyebright, which is very difficult to find. I purchased off Amazon from Biocoma. And I have also purchased a few things from the lovely lady at Tame the Spirit off of Etsy. She does a lot of wild harvesting. So, and another thing for the dandelion root, it tastes better if you put it in the oven for a little bit, roast it like a coffee bean. This stuff really expands too. So here is what I will do. I am going to put the camera facing down so you can watch what I do. Also, I have a mortar and pestle. You don't need this. It's beautiful to have, fun to use, get to really put your intentions into it. But you know what? You can do this with your hand in a bowl. It's really all your intentions. So what I like to do when I'm mixing any herbs, and the other thing is this actually makes a pretty awesome incense as well that you can burn on charcoal disc, or the other method that I showed without the charcoal disc. But you know, when you're infusing them, making the tea, I like going in a clockwise motion while I'm doing this. And I usually don't say it out loud. Usually in my mind, I will say, you know, mugwort, please help to open up my psychic abilities, allow for easier journeying skills. Eye brights, make sure my eyes are open wide so I can catch all the messages that are coming from spirit. You know, and I just go through, and some of these things I still have to look up, you know. So let's add, and I'll go through and tell you all about them. So we got mugwort. We should all know that, mugwort is really good for any psychic work. So we have mugwort. And I am going to use 2 tablespoons of mugwort. And this stuff is really puffy, so really I always probably do more than 2 tablespoons, but so there's my 2 tablespoons of mugwort. Again, I do 2 parts of this to 1 part of everything else except for sage. So let us look up mugwort, and I will tell you if there's any other fun stuff in here. So mugwort is great for clairvoyance, for new beginnings, for psychic energy, for fertility, for protection, psychic protection, for great dreams. Psychic tea. Yes, the psychic tea and mugwort tea is amazing to drink before you go to bed. So that's one thing. Let's see. Next, we are going to add a pinch of white sage. And when I say pinch, I literally mean a tiny little bit, because this is so strong. You know, like take 1 little leaf and crackle it up and put it in like that, and that's really all you need, because it is very, very strong. Let's see. Yarrow. Yarrow is it's like aspirin too. That's one thing with yarrow. I made my teenagers tea with yarrow tea, when they've had headaches and that kind of stuff. Let's see what else we got for yarrow, if there's any other fun information in here. Might not be in this book. Some of them are not in that one. Oh, here's the yarrow. Let's see. It used to be used in wedding decorations to ensure a love lasting at least 7 years. Wow. Okay. Carrying yarrow attracts friends and distant relations you wish to contact. Let's see. If you make it into an infusion, the tea is drunk to improve psychic powers, which of course is why we're adding it to the psychic tea. It's also used to exorcise evil and negativity from a person, place, or thing. But I do know, I have read that it is great for medicinal properties, and being just like Advil or aspirin, helps to relieve minor pains, but can cause your blood flow to increase, of course. So we will do yarrow, and I'm only doing a tablespoon of this. I'm making a mess. Eyebright is amazing. I don't know if that is even in one of these books, but like I said, it's very difficult to find. And you can use, you can just do yarrow and mint. You could do yarrow or mugwort and yarrow, or mugwort and mint, or whatever you have. You don't have to go and buy all this stuff either. If you're only going to be using it for certain things. And also I think Mountain Rose Herbs actually sells teas that are specific to your intentions on what you're going to use them for. So if you don't want to do this yourself, then there is no harm or foul in purchasing. Just make sure they are making it in a good way. I'm going to see if I can find Eyebright in here. No, yeah, there it is. Let's see. Oh, an infusion applied to the eyelids on cotton pads induces magical clairvoyance, but it must be persisted in before results are achieved. So your intention must be clearly stated. Carry to increase psychic powers. And it's also useful when you need to see the truth in situations. So Eyebright is good. I would suggest if you can get Eyebright, do so. Beautiful herb. It is difficult. Like I said, I only found it on Amazon from Biocoma. If you want, I will put a link in the comments as well. So now we've got dandelion root. I roasted this. Makes the entire house smell good when you do that. This stuff, it really goes poof when it gets soaked in tea and water. And, oh yes, dandelion root. I'm gonna look that one up for you. It works divination, dream work, new beginnings, clairvoyance again, communication, divination, help with healing and omens, purification of your spirit and self. So I did dandelion root. What am I missing out on? My mint. This is peppermint. You can really use any mint. And I do a heaping tablespoon. I love the mint, any of the mint teas. And peppermint, it is to activate and awaken your psychic abilities, calms you, increases clarity and concentration and focus, purifies, releases. So again, another psychic one. One that I don't normally put in when I do this, but I love making a tea, is a valerian root. And you can actually, let me go and find this. There is a tea that I purchased on Amazon, if I have any left. Yes. This is valerian, is something that came to me from one of my ancestors, actually 3 older women, ancestors that were saying that I needed to drink valerian tea. So I found this on Amazon, and I use this, sometimes I put this tea bag in with when I infuse and do this tea as well. It does taste pretty good actually, but alone on its own, it's not that great. So just to be aware. So that you can buy valerian, and you can put it in here if you want. It does help you to sleep. So if you don't want to get too tired, don't put it in. But it also, I believe, helps open you up. So now that we've got that, we've got everything in that we want. So what I do is I just take and I go clockwise, and I'm going like this, clockwise. I'm just, basically it's, praying to the spirits of these herbs, these botanicals, asking for them to please assist me with my psychic workings, my healing, to open up in my eyesight, my clairvoyance, all my clairs, aid in my journeying skills, help me to receive the messages from spirits, from ancestors, from my guides. And this is what I do. And this mixes it pretty well. The mugwort does get a little, let's see, what do I want to say? It falls apart and is powdery, which is fine. It does end up in your tea a little bit too. So I do that, and I do also get a spoon. Just to mix it a little bit to make sure it's all. See, it actually did get pretty good. And then all I do is I put it in a little jar and put it with my tea. So when I make my tea, I use this, and I always, let me grab my tea mug. I'm not just a little tea person. I like having quite a bit of tea. So what I will do is, this will be in my jar. So I take the teaspoon guy, and I put 2 heaping teaspoons in here. Like that. Close it. I have an electric tea kettle, which I love. Got at Costco for like $20. Just really quick. Put this in here, pour the tea. Oh, and be careful if you put this in the dishwasher. Mine almost ate it. Pour the water in, put this over, and I set the timer for me. I do about 15 minutes. And I do that because I've been doing it for a while. You can do it up to 20. But I would highly suggest, if you haven't had this before, to start out with 5, 7 minutes, and then go up from there, see what happens. So that is about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should tell you guys. I will show you how this gets a little powdery. That's all the mugwort. Let's see. See if you can look. See how the mugwort gets a little powdery? You will have some of this powder in your tea, which tastes fine. Doesn't affect anything in my opinion. So that is that. And like I said before, you can also use this as incense to like 30 minutes before you do working, any spiritual work. If you have this, a room that you do a lot of spiritual work in, you can put, a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, well, probably even less than that, half a teaspoon on a charcoal disc, or if you have another type of incense burner in, a cauldron, light it on fire, let the smoke fill whatever room that you normally work in. And then that is usually how it goes. I'm not in the room when I'm doing it. I usually do it 30 minutes before. And then I go on and it's not quite as smoky, but the essence is still there and the energy. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, I'm kind of mixing this with our Tarot Thursday because the magician loves creating and pulling in all the energies. And actually, I should have really looked because the different, like peppermint is air and fire, right? So we're pulling in all the different elements and energy to make this beautiful psychic tea. So thank you guys. See you guys later.